got a developing story to talk about. The U.S. Treasury victim of a massive
cyber attack on the U.S. government was far more wide-reaching than previously thought.
It's probably fair to say that this is the largest and most sophisticated attack the world has ever seen.
Nestled in the southern tech hub of Austin, Solarwinds doesn't exactly loom large among recognised IT brand names, yet there's a little bit of it in nearly all of them. Microsoft, Google, Intel, and just for good measure, inside the systems that power the US Justice Department, Treasury, Homeland Security, and even nuclear security at the Department of Energy. To anyone with malicious intent, that made Solarwinds the perfect target for digital spycraft. Compromised software used to manage large networks and in turn gain access to those networks. Perhaps there's no surprise someone saw the potential. The bigger shock is just how easy it was. The centrepiece of the Solarwinds platform is a system called Orion. Programmers collaborate, writing software code and saving it on, in this case, a place called GitHub. But for a while, all this sensitive work was compromised because someone mistakenly marked it public instead of private. And once through that open door, a Pandora's box sat behind it. Code could be meddled with and usernames and passwords easily uncovered. Amazingly, they were to discover the very password used to unlock the Solarwinds server was Solarwinds 123.
Is it true that some servers at your company were secured with this crackerjack password, Solarwinds 123?
Congressman, I believe that was a password that an intern used on one of his GitHub servers.
I've got a stronger password than Solarwinds 123 to stop my kids from watching too much YouTube on their iPad.
Armed with that, they could set about the nasty stuff. They invented a malicious software update package called Sunburst. When the big network customers were infected with it, their systems were at the hackers' mercy. Those customers weren't just America's biggest digital enterprises, they were global too. The UK's National Health Service, the European Parliament, even a NATO agency.
It's a little bit like a burglar who wants to break into a single apartment but manages to turn off the alarm system for every home and every building in the entire city.
Now, America's security agencies and its brightest tech minds had just been overrun and in their line of work, professionally embarrassed. But their dismay soon gave way to two burning questions. Who were these raiders and what did they want?
This is a sophisticated actor who did their best to hide their tracks. We believe it took them months to plan and execute this compromise. It'll take us some time to uncover this layer by layer.
Forensic evidence suggests it was the work of a group known as Cozy Bear. Nothing cuddly about them, though. It's the code name for a branch of Russian intelligence with many, many digital claws.
And we asked ourselves, how many engineers did we believe had worked on this collective effort? And the answer we came to was at least 1,000. I should say at least 1,000 very skilled, capable engineers.
With the backing of the Kremlin, Cozy Bear's suspected to be behind a long list of exploits. The Democratic campaign email service in 2016.
Russia, if you're listening.
Some Five Eyes intelligence partners also believe it tried to steal lucrative information on COVID-19 vaccine research. Now, to be a mistake to think America and its friends are victims here, they're actually cyber warriors themselves, and in this war, each bad turn deserves another.
My view is that contest, that real-world application of cyber warfare or cybersecurity is already here. If anything, the threat is just getting more frequent, more sophisticated, more complex.
Australia's not immune, but it appears to have escaped without too much damage. The vulnerable software is in use, but the Cybersecurity Centre says to date, no follow-on compromise of an Australian organisation through Solarwinds Orion has been identified.
The biggest risk is that the Russians are really good, really hard to find, and they leave things behind so that if they want to come back later, they can do so.
No amount of investment can make these global systems truly impregnable, not when Russia, China, Iran and other adversaries are intent on harm, and especially not when the weakest link is human error and sloppy security passwords.